All right, super excited for today's conversation because I'm joined by someone I've known since 2020, Edgar Aguirre. He was one of my placements, and watching his journey since then has been incredible. Edgar has built and led tech teams in LATAM for international companies, scaling engineering hubs from scratch. And most recently, he started as the first senior engineering hire for Rush Street Interactive in the region and went on to build and grow their entire LATAM tech team. With experience leading over 70 engineers and making key decisions and technical decisions and keeping turnover low in a very competitive market, he knows exactly what it takes to scale successfully in Latin America. Today, we'll talk about that journey, what he's learned, what companies should know if they're looking to expand in the area, and of course, how we work together to make it happen. So, Edgar, it's so good to have you here.
Thank you, Daniela. I'm thrilled. Thanks for inviting me and for giving me the opportunity to share my experience.
Of course, thank you for joining us. So, you've built tech teams in Latin America for multiple international companies. What drew you to this type of work, and what do you think makes LATAM an attractive region for global tech expansion?
Well, my journey started on the technical side as a developer, as an iOS developer for a long time. That
Mhm.
gave me great respect for the global operations of engineering teams. Moving into leadership roles, first as technical resource manager, then starting my own digital agency, and eventually serving as managing director, to later land a position as delivery manager. Um, I came to see the special potential of LATAM talent and the influence the area could have on multinational companies looking like for places to expand their operations here in LATAM. Um, LATAM is very attractive for several reasons. It has a highly qualified workforce, excellent adaptation to foreign work cultures, especially America, and the time zone synchronization with with North America helps a lot. Like we have our time zone is no more than 2 or 3 hours behind or ahead the US, and that helps a lot. Um, Beyond that, the area is truly innovative, and there are real sense of ownership that comes, especially in Colombia, and I've seen that also in Peru and Mexico. People come with a real sense of ownership, and that's that's something that adds a lot of value to the companies. I have observed personally how Latam engineers actively develop products and strategies and create a real impact rather than just like completing chores or tasks. They come with a real sense of ownership and understanding of the business.
Amazing. And it's crazy because I remember that back then in 2020, of course, the pandemic and everything, it was kind of starting the remote world, etc., and how more and more companies continue to open for hiring Latam. And of course, that craze has only expanded. And right now, it's on a weekly basis we get contacted with companies that want to open in Latam. So it's very interesting everything that we're seeing in the region. Edgar, with your experience, could you walk us through your journey of building a tech hub? So how and where do you start?
Over different businesses, I have had the chance to establish and scale teams, especially for American companies that wanted to expand their operation in Latam. Um, the process begins with knowing why the business is growing, like why they have decided to start a near shore offshore operation. It could be either access to talent, cost control, or just innovation, and then matching that with a clear recruiting and operational plan. That to me it's key. Um, in my most recent role, in my capacity as tech hub director, I defined the core team structure, who the first hires would be, what skills set to give top priority, and how to include them into the global team. Um, like for that, you need to like constantly coordinate with finance, legal, and HR to guarantee seamless operation. So you have to understand that it comes with different challenges, and you have to synchronize all of them to make sure everything is in place for them to only focus on what they have to do, which is to start giving value to the company.
Amazing. And I imagine you have a lot of important milestones in your career and things you have achieved. Is there something that you're the most proud of or something that you would like to share with us?
Yes, I've got some. Scaling the Latam operation from zero, from scratch, to a fully operating engineering team as a tech hub director here. Leading high impact product development as delivery manager, um, with the correct structure, procedures, teamwork tools, all of that, establishing that, and being able to handle multiple clients. Because at the time, with that particular role, that was one of my responsibilities to take care of the client. So it was also like an account manager, and I had the privilege of having probably the most important clients of that company. As a Colombian manager, when I started my own digital agency, creating and developing a ownership culture, um, like that aligns with the global, because we were an extension of an American company. We wanted to be able to balance both the US culture with the Colombian characteristics, and we were able to make it work in a way that both the US and Colombia were influenced by the other location. Um, and also using talent retention techniques to maintain low turnover, even in, as you said, a very competitive market. That also, and that's pertains more with my most recent role as director of people and culture, in which I had to also take care of that, not only for technical teams, but at this time also for the more operational side of the business. Um,
Okay. Now
Creating,
that you,
sorry,
so,
I just wanted to say that, um, creating teams that not only perform but also innovate and gain a strategic place inside the business, that's super critical, because it is important to understand that, although we are an extension for most cases, we should be able to contribute to the global results.
amazing. I was going to pick up on that because you mentioned extension now twice, that you were an extension of an American company. What leadership principles do you apply to make sure that your team feels like they're part of the American company, that they're first class employees, to say it, they're just not another remote team. They're actually working together for a same mission and vision.
Mm, My leadership philosophy is a mix of engineering best practices, operational strategy, and people first management, which I think is key. Because the first thing you need to guarantee is that whatever you build here in Colombia aligns from a cultural perspective with the company in the US or the client. I try to follow these core principles. Hard for ownership, not just skills. The first hires are the ones that would set the culture of the company. So I look for people who thrive in autonomy and can lead by example. That's crucial. Second, I try to create clear structures, um, regardless of my position. um, I've seen that teams with well-defined roles, goals, and communication channels tend to scale effectively. So having those in place from day one is crucial. Empower and trust. In my experience, the best results come with teams that feel empowered to take initiative rather than waiting for top-down decisions. They also need to have autonomy. They appreciate that a lot. So having this, and this is very common, having companies that are like, just ensuring that the developer is, for instance, for a developer, sitting from 8 to 5 every single day, that usually doesn't work. It is more effective to give them what you expect from them, with like clear expectations, and then ensure that they are doing it. And if for whatever reason they are not, confirming why is that, like, is it because they don't have whatever they need, they need to have, I don't know, more information, they don't have the right tools, all of that. Now, for the last question regarding how to ensure that they feel part of the company, um, there are a couple of techniques. One is to have regular meetings with their peers in I don't know, in the US, so they get to understand like the business. Another one, which is not as common now, is taking them to the client's location or to the headquarters, so they get to understand and to learn um, about the business. And third, I think it is a matter of ensuring that regardless of the location, um, whatever they suggest, propose, it is considered, and it's not just diminished because of their location. It has to be, they have to be taken seriously. They have to understand that um, any ideas they come with will be considered, not necessarily applied, but at least considered.
Okay, amazing. And you've worked with tech hubs basically in different parts of the world. I know that with RSI, there were some people in Estonia, US, Europe. How does the talent pool in LATAM compare to other regions? What do you think are the unique strengths that LATAM engineers bring to the table?
I think in general people perceive us as very passionate, and that somehow affects the way we interact with our peers, which is very positive. Usually, professionals here in Latam come with a strong problem-solving mindset. I have worked in resource-constrained environments, and I have noticed that they are able to make to be like be highly adaptive and innovative because they want to like contribute to the product. Once again, back to the ownership sense they develop. Um, High technical expertise. I have noticed this region has excellent engineers, especially in back end, front end, DevOps, security, cyber security, all of that. Um, that like having that talent, that pool of talent available for companies at a reasonable cost is very convenient, and I think that's something we bring to table. And cultural adaptability. I have led teams working with the US and European companies, and Latam engineers integrate seamlessly into international workflows. They don't want to become, they try to be as easy as possible. They want to be as uh, flexible as possible, and that helps, especially when you're starting an operation here in Colombia, because they just want to learn, so they will be keen to work long hours, at least at the beginning, to understand, to actually become like relevant for the operation.
Amazing. Edgar, so let's say a US company comes to you and says, okay, I want to expand and create a tech hub in Latin America. What are those three critical steps that the company needs in order to make sure that they establish successfully a tech hub in Latam?
That's a great question. I think you first need to define the business case, truly understand why the company requires this. I have worked on aligning company goals with local capabilities. So first you need to understand why and how the local market could help with that need of the company, whether it is innovation, cost savings, or just like taking advantage of the time zone. Second will be build the right leadership first. You need to bring the right people at the beginning, because there will be like scaffolding of the whole structure you are building here. Without a strong local leadership, expansion efforts often tend to stall. I learned that firsthand when I was setting up an operation as a Colombian manager. So first, you need to bring the people that will inspire and that will support your growth. And third, ensure operational readiness, setting up HR, legal, payroll structures properly from day one uh, tends or helps to save major headaches later on. As you don't have, you need to be very compliant with local regulations from day one. Um, Sometimes American companies tend to believe that, like here, the government and the legal requirements aren't as strict as they are, and like to prevent that or to avoid having problems in the future, you should and you need to understand the legal requirements and how to comply with them.
Amazing. And so, what are common mistakes that are you seeing these companies make? Of course, opening in new markets come with growing pains. What are the common mistakes, and how can they avoid them?
There are several, but I think not having the right partner, whether for hiring or setting up local operations, can be a big challenge. Since success depends on understanding local laws, as I said, talent dynamics, and operational details. That's where remotely played a key role in helping us finding the right talent. Um, when you are starting the operation and you don't have a reputation to sell to the market, to the talent pool, it is important to bring the right people, especially at the beginning. So this is critical. It is also probably one of the main reasons um, companies have brought me on in the past, because I can bring the experience and help them navigate the risks effectively, understanding the Colombian market, but also the cultural um, differences between US and Colombia that tend to guarantee or at least to reduce or mitigate the risks. And finally, underestimating cultural difference. A team in Latam won't operate in the same way as one in Europe or Asia, or even in the US. So um, the US leaders should also do their part and adapt their management style to the Colombian ways of working and working ethics.
Thank you. And Edgar, so now what's next for you in the world of tech leadership? What are you looking for?
Looking ahead, I'm focused on continuing to build and optimize high performing teams, whether in engineering, people strategy, or business operations. Um, One of the things that inspires me the most is finding ways to bridge the gap between technology and business, and helping companies to scale effectively while creating and fostering a strong and engaged culture in the country. I'm always looking for opportunities to drive innovation, mentor future leaders, and create cultures where people can do their best. That to me is and lately taking advantage of these new AI trends, like how to incorporate, how to bring those tools to ensure a more efficient and to reduce cost with the teams.
Edgar, thank you so much for this great conversation. I really appreciate you sharing your journey, your experiences, building the tech hubs in Latam, the challenges, the wins, the pains. I am sure that all of these insights are going to be very important for companies looking to expand in the region. And I got to say that seeing your growth since our first call back in 2020 has been amazing. And I have no doubt that you'll keep making an impact wherever you go. Thanks again.
Thank you for having me. Like for everyone thinking about expanding in the region, remember to always invest in your team, building for the long term, and I promise you will see the impact Latam can bring to your business. Thank you.
Thank you. And to everyone listening, if you're thinking about expanding your tech team in Latam, now you know where to start. You have some firsthand knowledge from someone who has done it a couple of times, and I'm sure will continue to do so. Thanks for tuning, and I'll see you in the next one.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye.